Welcome back, everyone. This is Akinar here with more Talos Principle 2, where last time we made our way through the Anthropic Hills, otherwise known as the land of 1,000 slightly creepy statues, and we got to play with the activator mechanic, which was a pretty cool mechanic, I thought. I liked the activator mechanic. Kind of wish they had done it earlier in the game so we would have had more activator puzzles. Good mechanic. We were also stumped by the Pandora star, and I've kind of gotten my wish that these Pandora stars are getting trickier, a little more involved. And my idea was that we needed a driller, that we needed to find a driller to open this driller wall that has an activator behind it, and then we take that and we activate the Pandora statue. That was my idea, at least. But I could not find a driller out in the world anywhere. Searched high and low, could not find one. And so I came back off camera to do some more exploration, see what I missed, and I did make a couple discoveries. One of those discoveries was there were some stairs here that I had missed that lead up to this plateau that has the palm reader as well as the Prometheus sprite, and we didn't have to do all that nonsense that we did falling down onto the statue and everything, although I kind of like the way we did it. I thought our way was kind of fun. But we found those stairs, and then I noticed that there was something else here that I had missed. There was something on this little ridge that I had just not bothered to look over here, and it turns out there's a fan. And I thought, well, maybe this fan leads us to our hidden driller. And there's no driller, but there is another fan. And there was a Stratton audio log, which we will replay here in just a moment. So maybe this fan takes us to our hidden driller. Not so much. It does get us this Prometheus spark that we were wondering about, so that mystery is solved. However, no driller, and therefore I have not yet been able to resolve this Pandora star. Could not find a missing driller anywhere on the island. However, I think that I might have come up with an alternate solution, which may be even more fun than the one that I was trying to go for. Now, as we are passing by the Golden Gate puzzle here, I do want to make note of something that I had noticed as I was passing by. As we take a look at the Golden Gates here, it turns out that there are, out of the 24 circles here, there are only 2 that are not lit, as opposed to 3. I've been going through the whole game thinking that stars are what light these up. 24 total stars, 2 in each area. Makes sense as we're going along. We collect the stars, we open the Golden Gates. That's the first thing my mind went to. But this kind of seems to debunk that. And that's when I realized stars are not the only thing that come in pairs. Lost puzzles also come in pairs. So perhaps it's lost puzzles that open the Golden Gates. Or it's something else altogether that the details maybe are not important. They're ultimately tied to your overall progress. Just keep solving puzzles, and eventually you get the Golden Gates to open for you. So that's something we can look forward to here, that we don't necessarily have to get this star in order to get into the Golden Gate puzzles. However, I might have an idea for that anyways. While we make our way around the island to where I might implement that idea, let's go ahead and play the Stratton audio log that I picked up off camera.
What did it mean in the end to be Straton? To have few friends and many enemies? To write harsh words because it seemed necessary? To pursue the truth at the expense of all else? Of family? Of love? To pursue that one principle to the point of death? Is that what I was? A life lived against the tides of history, broken, jagged, unrelenting. Not a kind old man beloved of his children and then forgotten, but a thorn, a rock in a shoe, insisting on the truth until it becomes a hideous, frightening thing that cannot be tolerated, even by those who agree with it. Was that a good life?
So eventually, as I was unable to find a driller anywhere on this island, and again, I could be missing something, it's a big island, but my mind started going to, can I get an activator out of a puzzle? I had already been kind of thinking about how to get a driller out of the puzzle, but there's only a driller in puzzle 3, and that doesn't seem to be feasible to get anything out of there, let alone a driller. So I started wondering about puzzles that have kind of low walls and also have boxes. And so I started kind of poking around here, and I noticed that we could put, if we put a box in some of these in some of these sections here. Now, what did I think I was, it maybe doesn't matter what piece of equipment I use here for demonstration purposes. But what I was noticing was that if I put a box kind of like right here, see if I can actually recreate this. But there was a spot where eventually, if I kept mucking around, I could get close enough to the wall, but also there was like an angle. It's weird to recreate this, but you can see that if I put there's a certain spot where it seems like the game allows you to put something on top of the wall. I don't think that this is intended, but I'm not sure because the game still lets you do it, but it feels funky enough to where, you know, it's not always letting you, because see, even right now, it's not necessarily letting me grab the connector back, right? It's in this spot where I can't even I just put it up on the wall, but it's not letting me grab it. So, and then of course, the real conundrum is how do you pick it up from the other side? And you can't just jump. You can't just jump to it and pick it up. It's the game doesn't quite work that way. However, let's head over here to Puzzle 6, because Puzzle 6 has something very key next to it, and that something very key is a little ledge to stand on. It turns out we do have a little spot here where we can elevate ourselves with the environment. And so what I was able to do, because this one also has a box. So we have a box, and if we're able to do kind of the same thing, we put a box not directly near the spot where we want to place the activator. The box is actually a little wobbly right now. I've not seen that before. It's on just, the terrain in this game is just funky enough where you can get this sort of stuff to happen. But what I was finding was that I could also, it's a little finicky, so it might take me a moment here to find exactly the right spot here. But eventually, you should be able to find a position here where you're able to place the activator on the wall. It might be tough to recreate, but I think I saw it there for a moment. The UI, there it is. There it is. There you go. And now that the activator is in that little corner, we can get up on top here and we can take the activator. And so we have an activator out into the open world. I don't think that this is the intended solution. I think this is, to me, very clearly not the intended solution, but I am at my wit's end when it comes to figuring out what to do with this Pandora statue. So this is going to have to suffice. One thing we still do have as well in front of us is Crier is still here. And the last time, Crier, I was not ready to deal with Crier putting a microphone directly in front of my face. I had been in the Lost Lab for far too long at one time, and I needed to get out and get some fresh air. I've had a little bit of time to reflect now, Crier. So because you are still here, why don't we go ahead and...
Ready now? We've got half the city plugged into the live feed.
I might still be... I don't know. There is part of me that needs more time to think, but let's go ahead and get this over with. I might not be completely forthcoming with my answers here,
citizens of New Jerusalem,
because I think there is...
I'm here with 1K, the first of our kind to use a functioning somnodrome.
Oh boy. Way to put...
1K.
Way to bring the pressure down. Right, so this is where we don't fully understand the Somnodrome, I don't think. We had some interesting insights with Miltoheme. That's the other thing that happened last time. Frickin' Miltoheme. But I still don't fully understand things, and I don't even think 1K or anybody in this fictional world even understands things. So I think it's probably in our best interest for now to not give... to try to give answers that say, you know, we don't know exactly what's going on here. What answers do they give us? Bugs, mostly? Well, not a completely inaccurate answer. Definitely not a deity. We don't want to say that. And people like Thekla, just who knows how they're going to respond to that. Also, I don't think it's true. I think I like this answer. Some kind of subroutine kind of downplays the experience a little bit.
Well, I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say you're handling it with remarkable cool.
That's me.
But let's not keep people in suspense. The
remarkably cool puzzle solver.
Inside that machine is the data stored in your memory banks. Our audience wants to know, what did you learn? And will you share that data?
It's like the question you get asked now on every app that you open up on your phone. Do you want to share data? Yeah, I kind of want to say I don't remember much. There's no data to share. This is not a bad answer. I'm transmitting the data to Rand. Only our finest scholars could make sense of what I saw. There is also part of me that kind of says, you know, let everybody see sunlight is the best disinfectant. Let everybody see what was there and just let things play out as they may. I think we are still kind of role-playing the idea of the robot Illuminati, so let's go ahead and say we're going to transmit the data to Rand and see what the scholars make of things first.
Well, I see lots of opinions about that in the chat.
I'm sure.
Let's get some reaction from the archive scholars.
This was the right decision. If this data contains any secret moral diktats, we'll find them. Though everything we've seen so far supports our existing beliefs. We'll be the first to inform you of any new developments in our moral understanding.
There you have it, folks. A lot here to digest. We'll have further updates on the situation as it develops.
All right, there you go. Rand actually kind of sounds, I think I've thought this before, but I don't think I said it, but Rand actually kind of sounds like Obi-Wan Kenobi, doesn't he? What's the actor's name who plays the, at least Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels? Okay. Ewan McGregor, isn't that his name? I remember the actor's name. Amazing. All right, let's go ahead now and see if this does the trick. We need to enable we need to shoot the blue beam out here to our first step in the relay. How did we do this before? Where was this at? It was here, wasn't it? It's letting me select it. There we go. And we should be able to put this... I had it in a spot... How did I do this before? I had a spot here where it was able to see both of these things. Did I... Is it because I put it on the bot? No, how did I do this before? I had this... Did I go over here? This is where it was, wasn't it? Yeah, there's a spot over here. That's how we do it. Okay, so now we have the beam outside of the puzzle. And now this is at least gonna, you know, get a beam to an activator. Is this going to get us our star? I certainly hope so, because if not, then I really am out of ideas. But again, I don't think this is the intended way if this does work. But it's a way that I am okay with, given the difficulty of this star. The Pandora monument shows up on the UI, so it's gotta be, right? It's gotta be, well, once I allow it to light up, we have activated the Pandora monument. There you go. Let's get the Pandora text here.
It is not the voice of God that a prophet seeks in the desert, but the silence of man.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know quite how to feel about this star, admittedly. I did say that I wanted the stars to be trickier. I wanted them to be more involved. This one, it's one thing when they're more involved, like when you are you're using the equipment that you know about that's in puzzles and you're working to find unique angles to things that you wouldn't think about normally. But when the star feels like it boils down to a scavenger hunt and you have to scour an area that is as massive as this area and it's so easy to overlook where something might be hiding. Again, I don't know for sure if that's what this boils down to, that there's a driller out in the world. That's just where my mind goes. But if that is the case, it feels a little bad when you just can't find it. You know, you're doing, and I feel like I'm somebody who takes the time to scour a massive area, and I'm patient enough to try to look in all the corners, and I still wasn't able to find it. So ultimately, we did have to resort to a little bit of cheese, but I think you're all probably okay with that. Or at least I hope you are, because to me, it's kind of fun. Coming up with those cheesy solutions, or some might say creative use of game mechanics, I think they can be kind of fun. When you're ever so slightly breaking the game, doing something that maybe you're not supposed to, but the game still lets you get away with it. Either way, we're ready now to move on to the last main area. This is kind of crazy that we have flown, the game has flown by like this, but we're ready to head on to High Plain West 3, a high altitude plateau in the island's western mountain range. The surrounding region often has restricted visibility due to fog. Doesn't sound great. I'm not the fan. I'm much more of a fan of the open areas.
We're getting closer.
As opposed to foggy, but we'll see.
I hope Byron is still okay.
Prometheus seemed to think so.
Let's hope he's trustworthy.
I'm guessing Byron is going to be just fine. The book is still out on whether Miranda is just fine. But we have some time left for crazy things to happen. The biggest question in my mind at the moment is, are we going to get a new mechanic once again? I kind of have a feeling that we will. Here we go. We already kind of had this area spoiled, which is not my favorite. The fact that Melville kind of spoiled this with her research post. We have a couple conversations here right off the bat with both, let's see, Rand and also Cryer is here as well. So we'll take a look around here first.
Remarkable structure.
And a speech from Herman to boot.
What can its purpose be?
Actually, I can answer this one. In the Files 1K downloaded, there's a design for a launch pad for space vehicles. This is about 90% identical.
Is it functional?
I don't think so, not if the inside is like the other towers.
That was something I definitely did not get. I think I had mentioned this before, but the idea of space travel, maybe I've been missing the clues, but it hasn't felt, I know we had like some floating towers in a couple areas. One of them looked like a UFO, but I haven't got this impression that this was designed for us to travel into outer space. I might be dead. I might be missing things. I don't know. Let's talk to Rand here, get some updates from him.
Number 1000. Greetings.
Number 1000. You make it sound so professional. Okay, so what do you think about the choice I made regarding the Somnodrome?
This was about the greatest good, and you did the right thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
We can't trust people with such inflammatory data.
Maybe. Maybe. Okay, well, he just wanted to reinforce that, yeah, you stick with the robot Illuminati, and you'll be on the right track. Okay, Cryer, we've gotten more from you, apparently.
What can I do for you, 1K?
What do we have? What do you think about the choice that I made?
Placing the truth in the hands of experts was a safe and sane choice.
A safe and sane choice. I guess that is what we're about here. Safe and sane. All right, it is time for us to find a puzzle. My biggest nag about the game is just that sometimes it takes us so long to get to the next puzzle. In this case, this was partly my own doing because we had some Pandora Star business to finish up. This area also is not nearly as foggy as they let on. This area is beautiful so far. But let's get into it here as soon as I can find the freaking entrance to this puzzle. Wait a second. Did I literally went exactly I went from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock clockwise. Okay. Puzzle 1. Let's check it out. From within. What are we dealing with here? I see a jammer. I see a receiver. I see a connector. Okay. No new mechanics. So far, 2, not 1, but 2 fans. Okay. All right. This is really Talos 1 basics right here. At least so far in terms of mechanics. So what are we doing? We have a connector. Oops. And nothing else in here. So this is giving me vibes of lateral inhibition, I think was the name of the puzzle. Way back in the north. We're activating this receiver here. And what is that receiver? It is doing 2 things, just like lateral inhibition. We're getting these fans that are activated, but we're also activating or deactivating the vents. So I'm guessing that, well, let's see if my guess is correct here. I actually want to deselect all. I kept the connections at first, but I actually want to deselect those because I'm wondering, can we jam a connector? No. Okay. That was going to be a change from what we normally have. However, I think I see what we might be able to do. Well, actually, I'm not totally sure. So it probably, since it reminds me of lateral inhibition, one of the things about lateral inhibition is that we needed to have something, like where the jammer is, we needed to have something, a piece of equipment at this spot that was able to inhibit the signal temporarily. This signal here That's my first idea, is trying to inhibit the signal somehow, which maybe is a false assumption, or maybe that's the wrong line to be thinking, because how do we do that? We have a force field here that we are currently jamming. We are currently jamming this force field. There's no way to hit this receiver from this side. So we don't want to, even though we can see the blue source from here, it doesn't feel like we want to bring this connector. Oh, okay, what we can do is we can jam some fans, can't we? The problem is there's 2 fans. And this is probably why they've done this, is so that you can't actually block or jam. Since you can only jam 1 fan, there's going to be another one to force you back. I put this connector back behind here. I initially was thinking, could I, you know, restrict this force field? Oh, maybe I can actually. Maybe I can. Because what I can do is I can bring the jammer out here. I think my original idea might hold. What I can do is now establish this connection like this. And, as I was saying, temporarily inhibit that connection by lifting the jammer. However, it remembers the connection that you have in place, and then when you go over here, you simply open it up, and you're home free. Okay, so that very much brought back lateral inhibition. Not the most interesting puzzle ever when you're essentially redoing a puzzle from before.
Athena and Cornelius called what they were doing the Noema Project. But in 1K's vision, they just called it the Machine. Because when you strip away all the fancy rhetoric, that's all it is. It's not a source of meaning or purpose. It's just another machine.
So if the first puzzle in the zone is basically just the exact same puzzle that you had previously, we'll see. We'll withhold judgment for now, but not the most encouraging start for the final zone of puzzles in the game. This is looking to be another absolutely massive area because we're over here to puzzle 2 already, and it has kind of its own structure. There's like an entire almost arena that feels like it's built around this puzzle, and who knows what there might be to find or not find, which unfortunately is too often the case in some of these big zones. But what I can find is at least the entrance to this puzzle directly. Oh my god, what a name. Chicken Flight. Chicken Flight. What the hell kind of name is that? We got a fan here. Are we taking a chicken flight? Okay. So... did I just trap myself? Did I just trap myself? No, this is a... this is a purple barrier here, Mr. Dingus. Not a force field. Okay, chicken flight. There's a fan on the other side of this barrier, and there's a red receiver, which I presume activates that fan. We have 2 connectors. We are really so far going back to basics. Maybe that's going to be the theme of this area. Going back to Talos 1 basics. Now, this fan, let's go ahead and activate this fan, but we can also activate this force field. What does that do? So this activates this fan here. I see. Presumably, we don't want that fan to be active so that we can stand on this pressure plate or place a connector on the pressure plate, because that pressure plate, this pressure plate looks like it opens the way to the goal. There's a force field on this side as well. Maybe that's just like an exit force field. That pressure plate might deactivate both of these. We have some horizontal bars here, which suggests that we might need a connector on this side somehow to relay a signal. Okay, now, these fans, are these? They are not aligned with each other. Why is there a little enclosure here that is guarded by a purple barrier? What are we wanting to bring into here? A connector, presumably, right? There's only connectors. We have 2 connectors. That's the only, as far as I've seen so far, unless I'm missing something. These are not detachable fans, right? No detachable fans. So what we want here is, I guess, I'm going to presume that we want to bring in 1 connector over here. I did not mean to step on that fan. Let's just drop that. What does that allow us to do? We want to be able to get into here, and then we want to We want to be able to get here with a connector. We cannot... Well, let's find out. What we can do is we could interfere with the signal. This might be the key to this puzzle. My first instinct is that somehow we are going to be manipulating or interfering, crossing beams, crossing streams, in order to turn off a beam temporarily. And maybe we just do that from this side. Can we shoot a... No, we can't shoot a beam back at itself. We also can't see... We can't see this red source from this side, correct? There's no line of sight to this emitter. So... we need to be able to inhibit this signal here. Which we can do like that, but I want to do it. Well, I lost my connection. Okay, well this doesn't work though, because I need something to put on the pressure plate. So I can't just put that thing down and run. And I might have trapped myself now. Is there a ladder out of here? There have been very few puzzles, especially compared to the first game, where you can actually trap yourself, and it looks like I might have done that. So I guess we need to reset. Let's go ahead and reset, get the puzzle back to its initial state. So chicken flight. I have no idea what that name is supposed to suggest. There are often puzzles that have hints, strong hints in retrospect, directly in the title. They're giving us an area over here that we can bring in a connector. Why would that be important? Why is there something special about this area? I'm wondering if what we need to do... What if this works? What if this works? I'd like to put this on here. Thank you. I'm wondering if this is going to work. Is it possible for us to do this? Aha, that fan is powerful enough to blow. Chicken flight. Is the idea that chickens can't fly? And that's what a chicken flight looks like? I think maybe that's the solution to the puzzle name. Okay. Alrighty. How do I feel about that puzzle? We have new interface content, which we will check out shortly here. I am just kind of thinking about what I was hoping for in a final area, a final puzzle area to me. You know what? Let's hold that thought and let's just do some more puzzles before we make any hasty judgments. In the meantime, let's look at the social media post. What a great title. Is there even a future? How do I pronounce this name? Zemiamvia. Looks like a lot of people are getting excited about how things are going to change, but all I can see is another repetition of the same mistakes. Ecocide, hubris, self-destruction. Why would anything be different this time? Once again, I'm not sure I agree with the premise here, so we'll say maybe it won't be, but so what? Life goes on. Deal with it. And maybe it shouldn't. Maybe we should just switch ourselves off and stop ruining everything. There, great. Great answer there. Neith, no need to be so gloomy. Come visit me and I'll tell you some stories from the old days. Sure, why not? Don't have anything better to do. Cheer up and get out of social media. Go take a walk. Get some sunshine. Looks like there was a palm reader over here close to puzzle 1 that we missed. Let's grab this real fast. Trevor End. Oh man, the end of Trevor. It's people like Trevor as much as it's people as much as it is people like Alexandra who make the future happen. People with silly names like Trev, who aren't famous, who aren't geniuses, who aren't driven by a powerful vision of the future. Ordinary people whose work and sacrifice isn't even acknowledged or remembered. I will remember you, Trevor. You too held the world on your shoulders. Thank you. These sorts of things always make me feel a little bit awkward just because, you know, I don't feel as invested as Athena feels here. For whatever reason, like, I want to feel like it's very sad. It's very sad whenever anybody passes on or at the end of a lifetime, but you're emotionally invested with some people in a way that you aren't necessarily invested with others. Like if a member of our team, Yakut or Alcatraz or whoever, if one of them were to die in some way, I think I would feel a lot differently than I do with somebody like Trevor. I don't know if you all feel like that, but that's how I feel. And I always feel a little like I don't feel the same thing Athena's feeling. And there's part of me that feels bad that I don't feel bad. Can y'all relate to that at all? From Triclinius. Dear founder, Byron and I used to go to the hills above the dam and observe the stars with the telescopes that I built. When I saw the stars like that, I felt such awe that I wished we had the ability to cry. I felt wonder, but I also felt recognition. I was seeing my home. The sea of stars is where we came from, and it's where we must return. I had so much hope then. I knew one day we would set sail. We would fly through the clouds of the nebulae. How is that pronounced? Nebulae? Let's look this up real quick.
Nebula.
Oh, it's just nebula. We would fly through the clouds of the nebula. We would cruise across planets where it rains diamonds. We would follow the fading light of distant supernovas until at last we met our brothers and sisters of the cosmos. I could feel that day coming. I can't anymore, and I don't know how to live this way. We've also got Cerebai. In memory still bright, author Hypatia. I lived with Cerebai for nearly a century. I will not pretend that all the days were good. Some were terrible. She was opinionated. She could be difficult. She could be unfair. And so could I. Sometimes we hurt each other, though we rarely meant to. But most days were good, and some days were great. A great date with Cerebai made you feel different, made you feel like something had been revealed to you about the nature of the universe itself, some innate goodness at the heart of all things. Like Nadia Cerebai, whose name she adopted, she believed in the existence of something sublime beyond the material world. There's that word again, sublime. I hope she was right. I hope she's still somewhere. I hope she's not trapped in that broken body I tried so hard to repair. I was advised to let her go, to get over my attachment. I tried, but it was the wrong advice. Love is what makes us human, and we should count ourselves blessed that we can experience it. My attachment is what kept me sane, what anchored me to this world. Even in death, she saved my life. I'm grateful for the days that we got, but no amount of days would have been enough. Love is not finite, and it is for infinity that we must strive. I will do so for all of you who may still find love in honor of Cerebai, Hypatia. Athena, if I had been more careful, New Alexandria would never have happened, and Cerebai would still be alive. And then another mysterious comment from failed to load profile. And perhaps our last audio log from Trevor. Let's make it a good one, Trevor.
Everybody's gone except me and Alex.
Collect all 12 of
She's
Trevor's audio
upstairs
logs.
somewhere. Haven't talked to her in days. The only reason why I know she's still alive is she's submitting bug fixes. I still have a lot to do myself. I've almost got the the tertiary backup thing working. This is the one that's really gonna last if everything else breaks. And you know what? I think everything else might. The MLA still giving me all these hiccups, but I don't know. I'm not a software guy. All the software guys, yeah, they're dead. God, these time capsules went a bit sideways, didn't they? I was gonna tell you all about myself, John Carpenter, and all that stuff, but mostly I just told you about Alex. Funny. I wonder if I should just... I should just tell her, you know? Just tell her. Just tell her. Maybe later. I gotta finish this first.
You gotta shoot your shot, dude. Especially when you got nothing to lose. Shoot your shot. Okay, we have a new puzzle here, puzzle 3. We have precision. We're also getting new interface content. I will check that after the puzzle. Let's do some more puzzle solving first, and then we will check the interface content, which we are ever so often bombarded by. These puzzles, so far in this area, I think the best way to describe at least what I'm feeling about them so far is minimalistic. It really feels like we are not working with very much. So far, we've just had fans, connectors, and a jammer. We're going back to basics. Don't know how I feel about that. With all the cool mechanics that we have introduced in this game, and the ways that you could potentially layer and stack these mechanics in interesting and creative ways, what did we decide to do in the last puzzle area? Wait, did I just solve the puzzle and I fucked it up? Hold on. Is that literally the solution? That's the puzzle? I'm honestly, I'm a little sad right now because these first 3 puzzles have felt so underwhelming. Oh man.
It all is truly breathtaking. But is it a human scale? Or is it so enormous that it can only alienate us? Humans have always been happiest in small communities.
Small town paranoia, isolationism, and peasant mentality. Great for burning witches, not so great for personal freedom.
Ever the pessimist?
I actually am feeling kind of down right now. I always have such a positive energy when I'm playing this game. Every area is a new thing to discover and a new mechanic to see and new puzzles to see. And they are, so far, at least with the first 3 puzzles, really putting a damper on that, guys. I hope this turns around. Please turn around. I want the last area to be one of the most fun. We'll see how it goes.
In the simulation, I found myself thinking how hard it must have been for Alexandra to die without knowing if her sacrifices were worth it. It seemed like a tragic end to an inspiring, meaningful life. But now I realize her whole life must have been a struggle. To maintain that faith in humanity when so many people around her insisted that humans are evil, worthless, when they were so lost in self-hatred that they would call their own species a virus. How did she do it? How did she maintain her faith when they were so determined to hate themselves? So determined to reject every solution, every analysis, every step towards controlling the forces that were causing their problems, when they rejected even the concept of progress itself, and then patted themselves on the back for it as if that was original. When I look at the archives now, all I can see is that their leaders were short-sighted idiots and their intellectuals were unimaginative cowards. All they could offer people was a downward trend. Fewer rights, fewer freedoms, fewer resources for anything that mattered. They must have hated Alexandra and everything she stood for. So how did she have so much faith?
It's also some of these messages, some of these audio logs and the social media posts, like there's kind of some of these messages are really downers. I mean, maybe that's the aesthetic that they're trying to set here, is that we are in a very solemn state. Let's, I guess, check our social media. Dare I check the social media at this point? In Memory Still Bright by Sibawai. I would like to thank 1K for recovering all of Trevor's recordings. It's clear that they meant a lot to Athena, and they should mean a lot to us too. He is as much our progenitor as Alexandra Drennan was, and we should not forget him. Interesting takeaway. Hypatia, it's all a love story in the end, all of human history, even when people die or never even have the chance to get to know each other. Love is the only thing that survives the abyss of time. Without the love Trevor felt for Alexandra, without the love Alexandra felt for us, none of us would be here, nothing would matter. Lebistros, thank you, 1K. Dossicles, that's exactly why we have to reject the goal. It's only through people that love comes into existence, and we need more people to have more love. Was Dossicles the guy? He was the depressed guy out by the cat, wasn't he? To make all these sacrifices mean something. Let's get on to solve another puzzle here. Let's check out puzzle 4, Duality. Let's see what we can do. Can we turn this ship around? let's get a more upbeat note here and think about puzzle solving. What are we doing here? We have a red and a blue receiver, and we have a blue signal, just a blue signal to start, but it looks like there is a red signal on the other side, which we can ever so briefly connect to here. Interesting. So we can obviously open the force field as such, but the red receiver that we need, or the red signal that we need in order to open up the force field here, is on this side. We kind of need... what do we need here? I think what we need is... we want to set things up like this. Yeah, this is what we want. We want this sort of a setup. Because what we do is we disconnect everything from this connector, and we now use this as our blue source. Although we want to do one additional step of connecting this to red. So now, all we have to do is disconnect this and connect this to red. Every single puzzle so far is a baby puzzle. I have to say it. I have to say it. These are baby puzzles. These are... I am actually kind of... I'm getting a little bit upset. I am getting a little bit upset and distraught at how easy these puzzles are. And now Melville wants to talk. Melville, can you help fix the... Is there a difficulty button we can press to turn these puzzles up to 11?
I wanted to take a moment to talk to you.
No.
I know we're all worried about
Instead, we're going to be talking about how sad we are. I want to talk to you about how sad I am that these puzzles are so easy.
They're going to take this and turn it into a reason to bury their head in the sand. Yes, Byron was rash. He wanted to find Athena so badly that it made him blind. But the thing is, he was right. He was completely and utterly right about what this technology could mean to us. I didn't see it at first, but now it couldn't be more clear to me. The theory of everything is the future, and if we reject it, we're condemning ourselves to a slow death.
So I will admit that the theory of everything, I have been reminded, my brother texted me the other day after watching one of the episodes here to remind me or give me the... I have heard of the theory of everything before. It was something that I had forgotten about, but there was actually a movie about this titled The Theory of Everything. It wasn't quite about the theory of everything. It was more about like the love life of Stephen Hawking. But Stephen Hawking, I think, is one of these people who sort of talked about the theory of everything. It is an idea. It is actually something that is talked about in real life in terms of physics, right? And finding a way to relate all the different fields of physics and all of the different things that we understand about physics and tie them all together. It's not something that I am really informed about. I'm not going to be able to expound upon it in any meaningful way, but I have heard of it before, and I just had completely forgotten about it because I'm not up to snuff on these things. And when it came up in this game, they didn't say anything about Stephen Hawking. They didn't say that it was, oh, this was some mystery that humans had been thinking about for a long time. They just said, oh, the theory of everything, and I didn't quite know where to place it. So now that I understand that, or I've been reminded of that, it does make a little more sense where they are going with this idea and how it could enhance our understanding of the universe. I'm not so sure I quite get why we're supposed to all of a sudden be able to do godlike things, and it almost gives us omnipotent sort of powers. So I think they might still be reaching too far in the story with this theory of everything. What exactly is Melville trying to say, though? Yeah, I mean, she's saying that the future might be the theory of everything, and if we reject it, we're condemning ourselves to a slow death. I don't know. You might be right. You're probably right, but maybe I have my reservations. That's what I'll go with here.
I get it. I do. I'm not blind to the dangers. But all we do anymore is think about the worst case scenario. I didn't even realize how much I'd limited my own imagination. How I'd talked myself into just accepting this incredibly poor future we'd been offered. A future where things just keep getting slightly worse every day, and we accept it because we're ashamed of ourselves. Not of something we've done, but just of our existence. Like we're a virus on this planet. Like our humanity is a sin. I'm so tired of it, 1K.
I'm kind of with you,
Kept
Melville.
my head down.
I'm kind of with you.
Focused on fixing things. But that's all I ever did. I never improved anything. I never built anything new. And when I imagine going on like this for thousands of years, that's a fate worse than death. It really is. We either live and grow and expand boldly and proudly, or we might as well switch ourselves off.
We'll find a way, Melville, one way or the other.
We better, because I don't think I can handle the alternative.
I did want to quickly make my way over to try and find the Golden Gate puzzle, wherever that is. Here it is, because I just wanted to confirm that even though we found the star on the previous level, we have not advanced the circles here in any way. Let's see what happens when we find a lost puzzle in this area. And I might try to do that next if I can, but we'll see. We'll do a little bit of science to see if the lost puzzles might actually be what progresses that. Back over by puzzle 4, I think this might be the lost lab. No, it looked like there was going to be an entrance. Oh, it's the Sphinx Monument. Okay, that's what's up here. I thought it looked like maybe there might be a door there. Let's make our way up to the Sphinx Monument and take a look. What do we have here? Okay. We have something near where we've got all these hands sticking up. These hand statues are pretty interesting. But there is something near them where we can find a switch. Just one switch. Hopefully this one is easier to find than the one that was way back at the beginning of the game that I just walked right by. We'll keep an eye out for this one. What do we have here? Oh, I think I might have seen this from the other side. This was part of a statue, right? So we've got statues that have sunk into the ground. And this one seems to be... Boy, this one is really keeping an eye out over this palm reader, isn't it? So we have the statues that were watching you in the puzzles in the last area, and now we've got statues looking over your shoulder as you're checking out palm readings. What fun. Jurassic Justice from an Ask Me Anything with Alexandra Drennan. It's impossible not to love any character played by Jeff Goldblum, of course, and Ian Malcolm gets some of the best lines. So the main reason he became an in-joke at Ian is just that he's memorable and funny. If we want to talk about what he represents on a more serious level, though, then I have to say that I personally think he's wrong. This neurotic fear that things will always go wrong, that we can never really have control over what we do, is misplaced. There's a legitimate critique of how the park operates, of science being subjected to the pursuit of profit, but that doesn't mean it can't be done differently. And if you'll excuse me for going full nerd here for a moment, why treat bringing back the non-avian dinosaurs as some kind of transgression? The extinction of these magnificent creatures wasn't some sort of intentional step forward, it just was a random catastrophe. If we can strike a blow at the obvious cruelty of the universe, that's an act of human justice. It's no less wrong than bringing back species we've accidentally driven to extinction. Horrible things happen all the time. Evolution favors survival, not beauty. If we can make the universe more beautiful, if we can add to biodiversity and bring back things that were lost, we absolutely should. Hell, maybe one day we terraform a planet and populate it with dinosaurs. But this time, we give them an asteroid defense system. Take that, Mother Nature. I like that. Athena, this is the Alexandra Drennan that I love most, dreaming of all the good we humans could do in the world. I tried to hang on to that. And she's funny to boot. Expansion by, once again, G.K. Chesterton. But the expansion of which I speak was much more evil than all this. I have remarked that the materialist, like the madman, is in prison. In the prison of one thought. These people seemed to think that it's singularly inspiring to keep on saying that the prison was very large. The size of this scientific universe gave one no novelty, no relief. The cosmos went on forever, but not in its wildest constellation could there be anything really interesting. Anything, for instance, such as forgiveness or free will. So these expanders of the universe had nothing to show us except more and more infinite corridors of space lit by ghastly suns and empty of all that is divine. Cornelius. Here, Chester's imagination, normally so powerful, fails him utterly. The problem is that he is not interested in the universe, and so not only does he fail to see, he fails to even look. Miranda. He finds what he expected to find. Athena. Exactly, and so he misses not only the grandeur of the universe, but the miracle that is magnified by contrast, that forgiveness and free will do exist within people. I'll have to think about this one a little bit more. I'm not sure I fully get this, but I think the idea or the critique by Chesterton is that the people who are trying to constantly expand, and I think in this case they're thinking in terms of like expanding into outer space, which feels like where they're trying to go with the story. Cornelius and Athena and Miranda were trying to expand beyond this planet. Chesterton is trying to say that those people, the expanders of the universe, really don't have anything to show for what they do other than these infinite corridors of space that don't have anything in them. But the interesting counterpoint by Athena is that, well, that just points out even more the miracle that we as people do have that forgiveness and free will, even though we only exist in this tiny little speck of the universe. And we also have Atlas 3 by Athanasios. When Heracles came upon Atlas, the Titan had grown old and tired. I have borne the weight of the celestial spheres for 1 billion years, he said. All the comings and goings of mortals, the tragedies of chance, the pointless wars have left me weak. Soon I will falter, and the celestial spheres will fall and shatter. You must take my place. But Heracles was hesitant. I am young and strong and virile. I have many women yet to bed and many wondrous feats yet to perform. What a waste it would be to spend my life holding up the world instead. And yet it must be done. So what choice do I have? Saddened by the imminent loss of his heroic life, Heracles went for one last swim in the Ionian Sea. There, on storied Ithaca, he met a clever old man of many devices. The answer you seek, son of Zeus, does not lie within you. Rather, it lies in the world around you and in what you can make of it. And so, Heracles used his divine strength to build 2 great pillars of stone, which even today hold up the sky. And Atlas was liberated forever. Just build some divine pillars to hold up the sky instead. Use your smarts. There is another question mark nearby. Let's take a look, and maybe that will be a lost puzzle. Yeah, it looks like we've got a lost puzzle down here. So let's take a look, and we can hope and pray that at least the lost puzzle will be either more difficult or more interesting than our first 4 puzzles. The title is at least intriguing, Hexahedral Stacking, or at least the verbiage is interesting. Maybe it's not the most interesting puzzle because we're just stacking boxes. Let's see. Let's find out. I'm gonna keep trying to reserve judgment here. We have a blue source and a blue receiver, which does... Okay, so it's connected to this, what I'm calling a diode, that deactivates this force field, but then activates this force field. But it does get us access to this box. So now we have 2 boxes. Okay. And they do give us a red beam, but there's no red receiver from what I can tell. So I'm getting the sense... Okay, I can see the progress wheel, and we need to get both by this force field, and we need to have a box to stand on to reach the progress wheel. So I need a box in here at some point. What I'm thinking might be the case... Okay, actually I need to... What was I gonna think? They're giving us a red source, but there's no red receiver. Unless I am blind as hell. Possible. So far though, no red receiver. So what would we want to do with a red beam? We would be connecting this as well, and then we would be causing these 2 to come into conflict. However, what we could do is we could block this, I presume. Yeah, it's just another twist on kind of what we've seen in several puzzles so far. We need to find a way to, well, that way is actually very straightforward because we just put this box, no. But we can bring this other box inside. We just bring the second box. Ah, okay, hold on. We can do something along these lines. We just need to think. Because this scenario, when you have red and blue both going to the connector, results in this force field here being down, which is what we want if we are inside. Okay, I can do this. We just deactivate this, and I see. I get it. We first go back to the way we had it to start, and we put this in place. Now, we disconnect this, keep the connections actually, but add in the red receiver, which is temporarily being blocked by the box. And now it's not. And we're through. Yay. I guess that's a more interesting puzzle, but we're not playing Talos 1 anymore. I guess I'll have to hold that thought.
You're very much like her.
Am I?
Inquisitive, intelligent, and dedicated. But remember, intelligence by itself has little value unless it is ethically applied.
Wise words, as always, from Mayor Herman. I was in the middle of saying, I feel like this might have been an interesting puzzle if we were in, like, I don't know, the early stages of the first game. We're at the late stages of the second game, where we have introduced activators, we have introduced accumulators, inverters, hoverbots. We have had a lot of anti-gravity flooring. We have done so many different mechanics that could be so amazingly complex to layer on top of each other and end up with some really cool, interesting puzzles. And instead, we're doing puzzles where we block a beam from one angle and activate it from another. I just don't get it so far. I don't get it. Maybe somebody can explain to me what we're trying to do here. There might be a meta point that we're trying to make from a story standpoint or something. But so far, I don't get it. All right, pressing on to puzzle 5. I'm just gonna keep hoping and praying that we get some cool puzzles, but I have a feeling this area is just, like, I hate being a Debbie Downer. I really, it is not what I go for. I am like, I try to be one of the most optimistic, put a positive spin on things kind of person. We're doing rerouting here, by the way, puzzle 5. But so far, this area is just not cutting it. Okay, new puzzle time. What are we doing here? We're doing some rerouting. We have to get this force field open to at least get access to the red beam from this angle, right? So that's the first thing that needs to be done. But then, well, okay, I need to be able to see. Does that get us to the goal? Does not get us to the goal. Okay, so we've got some different angles to consider here. One of the angles that we could consider, it would be nice if I could activate, send this red beam to this guy from here, as opposed to over there. If I could do that, if I could put this here, then that would mean I have a connector that can see, well, oops, I accidentally hit the purple barrier. That kind of startled me. How do we do this? Okay, at least this puzzle is presenting some slightly more challenging angles to think about. Because I can't do that because that disrupts my connection here. How do I... Maybe I'm trying to do the wrong thing first. Maybe what I need to be focused on here is not... I need to be maybe moving this back so that I can see this connector from over here. Because now that gives me an angle in this direction. And potentially... I'm not quite sure. It's not going to be good enough to... It would be good enough to see this receiver from this angle, potentially, right? But not quite good enough to get this red emitter. Because so far, the problem is that we are blocking off the red emitter by opening this force field. This receiver here, we kind of need... I really need a different... I want to be able to... It would be so cool if I could connect this red... Maybe I can. If I disrupt this, the force field is right here. The force field is blocking both the receiver and the emitter. All right, well, at least this one is making me think. At least this one is not a complete straightforward puzzle. Now, I might still be just missing something here. I might just be overlooking something. What is the angle that I am failing to consider? I wonder... Oh. Well... I was gonna say maybe I could see... Like, if I could see the red receiver from over on this side, but also still have the red emitter on this side of the wall, on the left side. But the wall is far too long to do that. But... Is it possible to do this? Does this work? That does work. Okay. I feel like I probably have done something like this at some point in a Talos puzzle. But it's been long enough where that idea did not immediately occur to me. At the same time, maybe we haven't done that before. Okay, so there was a creative angle there that we had to come up with. Now that we have the red accessible from here, we might be able to keep extending this idea. I don't remember what was the name of the puzzle again? Rerouting. This might be what we're doing here, is we're setting up routers that are then making new announcements that you should follow. You should send your packets through me. Because that feels like what we're doing here. Because what I can do, once again, is the same thing. Right? I could do the same thing, but from this angle. I feel like this should work. Because even though we're crossing the beams, we're creating an alternate route, which now allows me to pick up that connector. I think I see what we're doing here. Now, what's the next step? Is the next step... Like, maybe at some point we're home free. And I need to be careful not to overlook the next step. But I think the next step is actually creating... We actually want to create one here. We want to go back to what we had before. This is where things might get... I might have... I think I might have screwed up. I think I want... Let's deselect all. I think I might need to go back to... I don't know if I can do this. That actually worked. Okay, so now I can pick this up, and I still have this active. I think what I wanted to do was I actually wanted to do this. Connect this here. Somehow that's working. But then it doesn't. Fuck. I screwed things up because what I should have done was had a connector here before opening this force field. If I could have done that, if I could have set this up, then I would have been able to just temporarily open the force field from here with this connector and have a self-sustaining circuit, and then I would have had a beam accessible at this angle that would have shot to the finish line. So I need to redo a couple steps here. We need to start over from where we were. Let's pick this up and go through our steps here. I'm not sure that all of these are necessary. I'm also not sure if I can completely remember the steps that I did. But let's say that I can actually just jump straight to this step, can't I? Is this not what I want from here? Because I can see this from here. And I can also... The problem is I'm not sure if I can see that one. So I don't know if I can get everything in... That looks like that works. Now, that has a connection to the red emitter. The second connector does, so I should be able to pick that up, and then that force field stays open. And now, I think I go, and I do what I wanted to do, which was temporarily open this, using this guy. And now, that's open from this side. And now... Dang, I don't quite have it. Because I didn't quite put this at the right spot. Should I have put this over here? I think so. Can I put that over there still? How do I do that? Can I switch this over? This is the tough thing. Once you get to a certain spot, or at least I'm having a tough time switching over our route, rerouting. I kind of need it to happen from this side, don't I? Can I do that here? So that force field is still open. And now that force field is closed, but that shouldn't be a problem. For them, it should only be a temporary problem. We reopen that, and now I have that circuit there, and now I should have this at a better angle. I think we got it. I think we got it. Okay. Okay. This puzzle at least has the difficulty commensurate with what I would expect in the final level. So we had to wait till puzzle 5 to get to that point. But we're at least moving in the right direction difficulty-wise, even if my true wish is not coming true, which is having all the different layers of existing mechanics put together. Let's check our social media content. There was a research thing here that I missed too. Oh no, that's the Pandora statue. Not Pandora statue, Sphinx statue. All right, social media, theory of everything. Stilton, I've been around a long time. If I'd been born a bit earlier, I'd be a first companion. So I've seen the ups and downs of this city, although in recent years, I've kept to myself. Now I'd like to pose a question. I don't have an answer in mind. I'd just really like to hear what everyone thinks. I have no doubt that Athena's theory of everything would change our lives, but do you think that perhaps we're better off not knowing, that perhaps having all the answers would just make the universe boring? Malduk, the ancient writers showed that knowledge can lead to cynicism. We must maintain the sense of wonder of a child. Shmelev, the theory of everything wouldn't be the end of our journey, it would only be the next step. It would equip us to ask the next set of questions, to explore new possibilities, and to discover and create new wonders. Belmarsh, to believe that the universe can be understood or described in objective terms is pure scientism. Nothing exists. Even if something exists, nothing can be really known about it. And even if something can somehow be known about it, information about it can't be communicated. And even if it could be communicated, it would not be understood. Atal, the truth can be harsh. It's possible that the theory of everything would reveal facts that we'd find hard to deal with, but that doesn't mean we should not confront those facts and our own ethical responsibilities. I think I see something in what Atal says. I definitely don't agree with Malduk or Belmarsh, which is more of the stick your head in the sand ostrich approach, but I think I most closely relate to Shmelev. It would just be the next step. There's always going to be a new set of questions, new possibilities to discover, and new wonders. Thank you for your thoughtful comments. And by the way, 1K, thank you for all the hard work you've done for New Jerusalem. Solving all those puzzles is quite a gargantuan endeavor. It's just what we do. We are 1K, the humble puzzle solver. Hopefully we can get this Sphinx checked off the list as well. Shouldn't be a problem. We got this. All 1K, the humble puzzle solver, requests is to have some interesting puzzles. Some tough puzzles, some interesting, clever puzzles. Is it too much to ask? All right, we'll take a look here at number 6. Moving on to mobile instruments. Oh, look, a connector. Wait a second, there's a switch. Amazing new tech, switch turning on something. All right, we have a fan. We have a fan, which does what? We have a force field over here. Hardest angle to activate a force field ever. All right, now we got a box. So we can put a box on a fan and make something float. I have never seen this happen before in all of Talos. What an amazing concept. Does this mean that we take this connection? And right now we're blocked. How do we ever get our blue laser to this blue connector? It's a mystery that nobody could solve. Oh wait, maybe we can put it on this box. Does putting it on this box? Actually, it's not gonna do it. I'm being a little silly here. I'm being a little cheeky. But of course, that's... I was going to be quite upset if that was as simple as putting this connector on the box and elevating it. Using the fan. What do we do instead? It feels like maybe we want to get... Let's see. They're giving us horizontal bars here, which feels like we want to get a connector inside here and shoot that to the final connector, the final receiver, which gets us to the progress wheel. So why is this fan here? What does the fan allow us to do? Oops, the switch is interestingly close enough to the fan for us to be able to get on the box and then... Oh, ha 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 ha. First rule of Talos is always check to make sure you have identified all of the equipment. Okay. We have a platform, which is a bit curious because I don't know that we've ever seen a platform in this game that has not been part of a cloning tech puzzle. I have not seen a piece of cloning tech. I have not seen a piece of cloning tech. So what are we meant to do with a platform? What does a platform do? Oh, that didn't actually float, did it? The platform doesn't float on the fan the same way that the box does. It's sort of like every other piece of equipment that... It's really only the boxes that have that perfectly flat surface area that allows them to act as... Although for some reason we can float on fans, even though we don't have a perfectly flat surface to float on. It's just the nature of the game. Okay, let's try to put the pieces together here. Why is this platform here? I gotta say, this is an immediate mystery to which I do not have the answer. I've always thought of the platform as something connected to either the recorder tech in the first game or, as we've seen in the second game, the cloning tech. The cloning tech felt like kind of an extension or a wrinkle on the recording tech from Talos 1. In this game, though, or in this puzzle, I should say, how do we make use? I think what we're supposed to do... I think maybe what we're supposed to do... I can't put this connector on top of this. Is it because it's too high? My idea that I was thinking of doing, I was reminded of one of the puzzles from the cloning tech area where we were able to put a jammer on top of a platform that we were carrying around. And as we moved, the jammer changed sides. We were able to go through a force field while it was still jamming it. And I started to have this idea about maybe somehow we can move around while we have a connector on top of our platform. The question is, how do we accomplish that? Unless we have a cloning tech. It's very possible here that I am just missing out on our cloning buddy. Is there a cloning buddy in this puzzle somewhere that I have just failed to notice? I don't think so. I don't think so. I also wondered for a moment if there was a way for us to walk or jump to this little platform over here. Feels like we're just a little bit too far, I think. Ooh, we weren't actually too far. We kind of hit the overhang. And no, we're bonking on the overhang. Not sure that I can avoid that. Okay, another thing that I had not thought of yet here is when we jump here, can we take this box? We can. We can put the box here. Does that do anything? Does that give me an extra vantage point? Can I jump over to... Oh boy. Oh boy. This can't be it, can it? This can't be it. This can't be it. Come on now. Actually, did I screw myself? Because now the box is stuck up there? If I had done that correctly, I think I might have had a win, but I'm not sure that's the intended solution. I'm just very perplexed as to why there is a platform here. I don't think I understand how to use this platform if I don't have a second me. How would I put this to use? Because I can't put the platform down and then put something on top of it and then pick up the platform. I just pick up the platform. I need somebody else to place the object on the platform. Is this platform a red herring? I'm gonna hit the reset button here because I think I have an idea that solves it. The only question mark is, does the beam actually have line of sight to both the emitter and the connector? But let's try this and see if this works. And if we're still not satisfied, we can... Let's just see. Let's just see. Before I jump ahead a million steps, let's go one step at a time here. Let's put this here. Take the connector. Jump on here. Flip the switch. Put the connector up here. And now take the box. Put the box here. Now I have to nail this in one go, I think, because I can't get back up here without resetting. So I do have to be a little bit careful, but I did this the first try, so I would think it's actually not that hard. The only question is, do I have line of sight? I think I do. That works. But it feels wrong. It feels wrong. What the hell was I supposed to do with this platform? I don't get it. I'm gonna have to think about this one. It might be like we did with one of the other puzzles where we had the jammer or the driller that kind of fell through its own opening. But I am very much stumped as to what we were theoretically supposed to do there.
Have you found any signs of Cornelius? Could he have returned to the island?
Nothing so far. But he knows this place better than any of us, and we have no idea what he's up to.
I'll have to think about that puzzle. Because that was not the most janky or cheesy solution that I've ever thought up or come up with, but it also doesn't feel like what they wanted us to do. Also, Herman talking about Cornelius there feels like we're probably going to be finding Cornelius somewhere. In the Lost Lab, perhaps? Where is the Lost Lab? I haven't seen any signs of it yet. We've got puzzle 7 right here, but there is a question mark I want to check over here first. It looks like the Lost Puzzle. Okay, we've got another Lost Puzzle here with the question mark. We will get there eventually. It does look like we've got another Stratton log over here behind puzzle 7. We'll grab that.
Perhaps for the life of an individual citizen to be good, first the city itself must be good. Perhaps even the cosmos itself must first be made better, before such a thing as a good life is truly possible. These insubstantial creatures that walk through my thoughts.
Excuse me?
Perhaps they can
Insubstantial?
live that life. They are, after all, human beings, like myself. This much I have understood. Is that why they have summoned me? Can I somehow bring them into this world? Make them real? Or am I? No.
Okay, puzzle 7 time. Gateway switch. What are we doing here? They've already got a connector set up here. We just need to jam a force field. So it looks like that's our first step. Just jam that. So that opens up. We have to jam this to get back out. So now we have this open to us, but I can't just take this connector because I'll be similarly trapped. There is a ladder that gets us out. So actually, I'm not trapped. So this allows me to pick up this connector and perhaps set up several different connections. Several different connections. Is there any other connector somewhere that I'm going to be getting access to eventually? It feels like we're going through a whole series of airlocks here to get to the progress wheel, and we just have the one single connector, and we've got a jammer. Low tech in Talos terms. Very few, just as we've seen with every puzzle so far. Okay, so creatively, we need to somehow creatively have this connected to both blue and red. Maybe not at the same time, but maybe yes. Maybe yes. How do we do this? How do we do? I think what we do is we set up this connection, and then we head out over the ladder, and we go back here, and we jam this. So what that lets us do is it lets us bring this connector out. We now engineered a scenario where that force field is jammed. And we were able to get back out of where the jammer is. Now, we should be able to get the jammer out. So, both of our pieces of equipment out in the open. So now what do we do? Are we taking these pieces of equipment with us? It feels like we need to take the jammer with us, and we're going to be jamming something at each step of the way so that we alternate between blue and red. What does the final... Well, the final force field just needs a jammer, I think. I think that's what we're doing. We're taking the jammer with us so that we can jam either this force field or this force field. Because we are connecting... Maybe. So this is okay to start, at least, because that gets us through here. Now, the problem comes in when I go to jam this because I'm not actually activating anything. Yes, I am disrupting the blue beam, but I'm not allowing the red beam to go through. So that doesn't quite cut it. Is there some other angle here? Like right here, maybe? Where I can see both the blue and the red, but they're both going through force fields? I think that's what we wanted to do. Just a slight adjustment to our connector positioning. And now we do what we were doing before, is we jam... Well, I need to... This is not quite it either. This is not quite it either. This is not quite it. Because I need this force field to be open. It needs to be open while I have the jammer in hand. I could make this adjustment here. And now I could sustain that force field like that. But I feel like this is the same predicament. I'm in the same predicament that I was. So I think it has to be the jammer that I'm taking through with me, and not the... I'm not supposed to be bringing the connector along this road, because I don't have any line of sight to these receivers. Oh, wait a second. This works, doesn't it? Because that closes the blue. Because I'm disrupting the connection to blue, that means that receiver there loses the blue signal, and so that force field closes. And now I think I'm in the scenario that I want. Maybe not though. Maybe not, because I kind of need... Oh shit, I kind of... Still not good enough, because I need to be able to pick up this jammer. Okay, this is tricky. Oh, I think I might see it. I think I might see it, because I think the last change here is just... We're literally, I think, connecting the connector to everything. Because what I want to be able to do is I want each of these gates to sustain themselves. Like this one is sustaining itself with blue, so I can pick up the jammer and things stay the way they are until I go to toggle over to red. And now it has a connection to red that sustains itself. And it's only disrupted when I finally go to block one of these force fields again. And I think that's the solution. Okay. I actually like that puzzle. I like the...
I am so glad I'm not in charge of solving these.
I am glad as well, Yakut, because puzzles like these are fun. It is fun to think about the sequencing, even though it's low tech. At the very least, we're getting some more interesting puzzles than we had to start the area. Let's check our interface. Content here. Research. Theory gold puzzles. Oh, we did a lost puzzle, didn't we? I forgot. We needed to go check the golden gate to see what happens. Although Melville maybe is just going to tell us here. I'm basing this on Athena's descriptions of the simulation and what little sense I've managed to make of the megastructure systems. I think the gold puzzles are meant to open up when every other puzzle has been solved, and solving them will lead to something. In the simulation, trying to solve every puzzle instead of trying to defy Elohim was actually negative. No idea if the same applies here. In any case, I suspect the puzzles won't open up until Byron's logged out. They represent... Oh, until Byron's logged out. I see. They represent the highest level of security and undoubtedly hide something important. And as long as an unauthorized user is logged in, the system will stay in some degree of lockdown. Okay. So, once again, there's no sense of mystery. I kind of wanted to go back to the Golden Gate to kind of confirm my theory in terms of whether or not the lost puzzle was what was actually activating this. But now Melville has confirmed it for me. I don't need to waste my time. And furthermore, she has told me that we can't actually get these open until we go back into the megastructure and get Byron out. So, I guess that does change how I was going to sequence the recording of these episodes, where I was probably going to do stars first and then go into the megastructure, but we might not have a choice. Looks like we do have a question mark here near the hands. And that is, I thought it was going to be a lost lab. Okay, maybe there's no lost lab in this area? We'll see. There's a palm reader though, and we will quickly grab the Lithrosir audio log. These are my favorite terminals, the ones that just have a Lithrosir audio log.
In my reports to you, I have often
Ecstatic
spoken about
truth.
this island in
Collect
terms
all
that
Lithrosir
some might
audio logs.
perceive as negative. I hope you understand that the opposite is true. Here in these green hills, I see tremendous potential for transformation and spiritual awakening. I do not see the world as you do, Athena, but I see the rot at the heart of New Jerusalem. If you and Cornelius want to go through with your plan, then this is the perfect place. My students and I will help you transport the remaining tech from New Alexandria. After that, once you and Cornelius are settled, we will leave for our great journey. I can only hope that we all find what we are looking for.
To that sentiment, Lithrosir, I will heartily agree. Here. We also got some interface content here, which I will check very quickly. Lithrosir social media. I kind of had a feeling that's what they were going to do. They did the same thing with Trevor. So Lithrosir and his students helped Athena and Cornelius execute their plan, another fascinating discovery courtesy of 1K. Many of the events in our city's history that seemed disconnected turned out to be part of a bigger pattern. There's something to be learned from that. Neve, this does answer some questions I had, like how Athena and Cornelius transported all that equipment from New Alexandria to the island. Elwyn, disturbing, but good to know. Budahas, Lithrosir was so cool. Half the time I had no idea what he was talking about in his recordings, but it's all just so interesting and weird. Gouda, good work, 1K. We did speculate way back when that maybe Lithrosir was one of these people who came to the island and helped with all of this stuff, so that seems to line up. I don't think we want to send an expedition for Lithrosir. I think whenever they want to come back to New Jerusalem, they will do so in good time. Let's just give thanks. Thanks for the props. Yeah, excellent work. Not just finding Lithrosir's message, obviously, but everything else you've accomplished as well. You all are far too kind. I'm just a humble puzzle solver, and I will try to continue to do that here with puzzle 8, which is Photon Sail. We're back to basics. We're just working with the bare minimum of the Talos mechanics here, but we are solving puzzles nonetheless. Photon Sail. There is a swapper this time, so we're not doing with the bare minimum. What did I just say? We are not dealing with the bare minimum. We do have a swap pad, and obviously, well, maybe not obvious. Oh, there's a fan over here. We need to do this first, because maybe, okay, there's not, oh my goodness, wait, what is this? Okay, this is kind of new. What do we have going on here? So we have a platform that we can reach with this fan, but then there is a purple barrier, and then the progress wheel is on the other side. The purple barrier, though, is set up in a way to where it feels like a bridge. Except we obviously cannot walk on that bridge without falling through. Okay, this is an interesting wrinkle. What are we doing here? They are giving us 2 boxes, so maybe what we're supposed to be doing is setting up 2 boxes here in the middle, and then we jump to those 2 boxes, and then we jump over to here? Huh? Is that what we're doing? If that is the case, how do we do this? We do have a detachable fan. Important to note. Not sure if that helps us. I'm not sure if a detachable fan is actually usable, because we can get over here to this area, but I'm not sure how we would get to this area without the fan. Okay, I'm thinking too many steps ahead. Let's slow this down. Why does the box looks so much smaller when it's on the swap pad? I like this box a lot better. I'm gonna stick with this one. So we can get out. We can get out, but we need to bring something in order to swap. We need to bring something in order to swap with the box. Because I think we need to be able to stand on a box on this side, put a box over here, and then bring that box from the other side while standing. So how do we accomplish that? I have a connector. There's no way that I could, like, jump on here and grab the fan, is there? So what is the button to detach the fan? The mouse, left mouse click. So space and left mouse click? I don't think we're supposed to do that. We're not grabbing the fan the moment we get blown away by it, right? That's not what the game wants me to do. Pretty sure. The question is, what does the game want me to do? Doesn't the game want me to ride the fan with a connector? Is there some other... Let's make sure we haven't missed some other piece of equipment here, but it doesn't look like it. It feels like we only have this connector to work with. Let's put this back down. Because if that's the case, I obviously can't pick up the connector and take it with me because the force field closes. Okay, let me make sure I'm understanding what I can do here. I can't stand on this, right? I can kind of stand on it, but it doesn't feel like it wants me to. Well, actually, it did feel like I could... I can put that outside. And then can I get outside? Well, maybe it's not going to let me. Because it says to jump, but it's not letting me jump when I'm on the swap pad. So I don't... That feels wrong. That doesn't feel like what it wants me to do. I need to bring an item to swap. I need to bring something inside here in order to swap. This is a non-detachable fan. I can't just swap this from over here, right? I don't see what this does for me. Huh. There is not very much going on here. But I am stumped. Because I am not sure what I take across here with me. What am I failing to notice? What am I failing to recognize? How do I take... Is that not the goal? The goal is to take this connector inside of this force field with me. Is it not? And the only way to open this force field is via the red beam, correct? And if I try, like I can't, this is the Talos thing, I can't just go here and pick that up because it puts me back to the other side. What am I missing here? Feels like I'm missing something very, very fundamental and potentially very obvious. Might need to fresh brain this one. Let's go ahead and do a reset. Let's just put everything back the way it was. Maybe there was something about the initial alignment of the puzzle pieces that could clue us in. We also have this Photon Sail, which sometimes is a clue. So they put the box in the middle. They have this connector out in the middle. And then there's a fan. Is there any way... Oh, of course I'm being an idiot. I'm being a dingus. Because I don't need to necessarily do... I don't need to sail with the connector over here. I just need to put the connector within reach. So that when I go like this, I can bring the connector with me. Now, I can swap. Now I can swap, and I think I do what I was hoping to do. I wanted to be able to bring the box with me. There we go. Okay. Problem solved. Quick little puzzle reset does the trick. Now, my idea was to simply put 2 boxes here. There's a catch, though, because the only way to get up here when I have just 2 boxes, the only way to get up is to put 1 on the fan. So what am I doing with this box? Oh, it's a purple barrier. It's a purple barrier. So putting the box... Oh, the boxes float. The boxes float because, of course, they don't pass through the purple barrier. Okay, so we do need 2 boxes up here to be able to kind of, I don't know, leapfrog the boxes. Put 1 here, take a box, put a box, jump on that box, take a box, put a box. The problem is, how do I get this box up? How do I get the box up? Because, okay, I might have gone too quickly. I might have gone too quick. Let's do 1 more reset. We'll do another reset here because I'm thinking that this is where the detachable fan somehow factors in. I need maybe at some point to hook the fan or use the fan as one of my swap items. And that, or either the fan or this connector. How do I do this? So let's say I go over here. I go over here and I set this up. I set this up like this. Now, I think I have to take the connector and swap this here. I think that's the only way for me to make progress. And then what I can do is I can... I'm not sure if I put these in the right spot. I can take the hexahedron and then I can actually still swap from here. I think that's the step that I missed because now I go back here and I bring the fan out. Now we should be good because now I have something to put on this pressure plate. Whether it's the connector or the fan, I don't think it matters at this point. All that matters is we have 1 to put on the pressure plate and the other to swap with the second cube. And now we just put the boxes up here, right? And we're good to go. Okay. You gotta go back to basics sometimes. We've been going back to basics for the entirety of this level, although this is kind of a new mechanic. This is not something I remember seeing ever. I don't remember ever having a purple force field like this that just, you know, you use it as a bridge because you have boxes that don't drop through it. I'm okay with that, right? When you're finding, this is what I would put under the banner of it's not a new mechanic, but it is a clever use of existing mechanics. And I'm okay when the puzzles are like that. It's just the puzzles that we started with were so just uninspired. They really kind of threw me for a loop to start this area. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that is actually the last regular puzzle that we've got in the game. I think that is now 100% of the 1 through 8 puzzles So I think we just have the Lost puzzle over here. And then we've got a Lost Lab, and then we've got Golden Gate puzzles. Oh, and we've got the 2 stars here as well. So a few things still to find in this area. Here's our Lost puzzle. There is a path leading out over there. We'll check that. Let's actually check that first. Let's head around this way and see what we've got over here. Oh, what is this? There is a red audio log. Is this Byron? Has Byron inside the machine left us an audio log? It's kind of scary with that red color.
I'm tired of waiting.
No.
Sometimes I think Mother is stalling. Like, we could already be done with this, but she's afraid of what will happen if we contact New Jerusalem. Our discoveries are amazing, world-changing. But how much longer can we sit around on this island? None of it means anything if people don't know about it. Can they really be so afraid of change?
So it gave us another Miranda audio log, but why was it red? That's the first time we've seen a red outline. Does that have something to do with the fact that she's thought to be dead? Getting sidetracked with a little bit more exploration here, when I'm probably not going to find anything. Oh, never mind. There was another audio log out here. I was going to say I'm probably not going to find anything earth-shattering, but we've got another audio log, so let's grab that. Oh, we got all of them?
Generators working?
Yep, all good. Those Mark IIs are real workhorses. Wow, did you finish the setup?
Yes. Sorry I couldn't wait. It was so much fun to just do something again without having to endlessly discuss it first.
I know what you mean. We have a lot of work ahead of us, though.
We do, but honestly, Cornelius, I haven't felt this excited in years. Just imagine, one day they'll come here and we'll be able to show them a whole new world. A different future right at their fingertips. You do think we can do it, right?
I think, and forgive me if this sounds sentimental, as long as we're together, we can do anything.
Oh my god. Can you get any more syrupy, Cornelius? Come on. But I guess we got an achievement for finding all... the name... It was a name that I could not pronounce, whatever that achievement was called. But it said something about we've discovered all of the memories of the past? Something like that? All right, let's check out the final Lost puzzle in the game. Alternator. We have a very, very slow-moving fence here. Presumably to alternatively block this blue emitter. All right. We have 2 connectors. Okay. We have 2 connectors, and we have a red and a blue receiver. We've also got a red source over here. 2 force fields to get through to reach the progress wheel. 1 controlled by blue, 1 controlled by red. So we need to set up some way in which they alternate. This, well, we'll see how this plays out, but my immediate instinct is to try to set something up like we had with Seesaw, which was in like the first or maybe the second area. So we can set up a beam that is active sometimes with blue. How does this look? How exactly? It's probably, it doesn't seem like it's actually going to work the same way that Seesaw did. I might need to play around with this a little bit here. Yeah, once we have blue and red going to the connector, these don't work the way that they should. Although, what if we did this? So we have blue going to that connector when the fence is up. And it's up long enough to break that force field. And then close it and also interfere the blue beam, which allows a red beam to cross at this point. Now, the problem, okay, I think we can solve it. The problem that I was thinking of was that I was originally going to set the red beam right here, because at this point, you could have the red force field that would be down, but then the alternate state is never going to allow the blue beam through. But I think we can fix that by putting the red beam on this side, right? Could we not? And now we have a scenario where stuff just works. And I don't know. Okay. We are a puzzle fiend now, apparently, because we have solved all of the regular puzzles in the game. And I wish that I could say that that was the last puzzle in our, what am I trying to say here? I'm getting an overall feeling in this level of just disappointment. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I have built up the last area in my mind a little bit, hoping that if they're not gonna introduce a new mechanic like they did in every other area of the game, that they are going to at least have the most interesting, complex, involved, layered, creative puzzles that you can think of. And instead, we got this. Which, like, if I'm just starting to play Talos, I mean, I could see this being like a red piece in Talos 1. Okay. But we're not playing Talos 1 anymore. We've graduated to Talos 2. Maybe I'm harping on this too much. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. I don't know. How did you all feel getting to this area? What was your reaction to working with these puzzles? I gotta say, for me, it has been underwhelmed, to say the least. Oof. Maybe that's the word. Just a big oof. It might be a thing of expectations, but I feel like it's not unreasonable to expect the final area in a puzzle game to be the hardest. I feel like that's not an unreasonable expectation. And for it to be like the exact opposite, to maybe be one of the absolute easiest and least creative parts of the entire game, I just feel a little robbed. Okay, we're gonna turn our attention now to the Prometheus and Sphinx stars. So let's actually try to do this. Well, we've got a conversation here, I guess, with Yaku. Why don't we knock that out real quick? I hadn't seen any conversations with anybody for some time, but we'll do a little bit of talking with our buddy Yaku. So Athena designed a spaceport. What do you make of that?
I used to dream about going up there, but now I'm not sure it's worth the resources. It seems frivolous. Is it really worth wasting so much energy just to satisfy our own curiosity?
That is a tough question to answer. And it's a good one to think about, Yakut, and I will continue to think about it while I am searching for the last 2 stars here, which hopefully are not going to be as complicated as some of the other ones that we've had, or at least not as asking you to search as much as the others have had. Now, what we need to do is I need to look at my Sphinx. There is a tab specifically for Sphinx notes. What do we have here again? So we're overlooking the hands. I think we're at the spot that we need to be, because the hands are right here, right? The hands are nearby. Maybe? The hands are pretty close to wherever this is supposed to be. And there are also the other clue that we're being given here. If we're to take this engraving literally, there is nothing in the lower part where this X is located. There's like, we have like some parts of the structures here that are raised up, and that doesn't seem to be the case in the engraving. And I don't see anything. I'm not seeing anything here in this area, so I think we're in the wrong spot. Where else would we, because this is the Golden Gate puzzle, where else would we have a vantage point that is near, somewhat in the vicinity of these hands? Could have been puzzle 8. Let's maybe go to the hands. Maybe that's what we should do. I don't know that I've actually gone to the hands yet, because I didn't see anything on the compass. I didn't see a question mark or anything on the compass. that was near the hands, but maybe there's like a Prometheus spark that we're never going to use. Let's see here. We'll just look around the hands, first of all. We got this palm reader, that's right. There was a palm reader here. So there was a question mark near the hands, I take it back. Maybe though, it could be this over here. Maybe this is where we want to be looking, which is where we were a little while ago, puzzle 8. It feels like this is actually the spot because you've got the 3. I think this is what the engraving shows. You've got these 3 things here, and then there's basically nothing in this clearing. There are some trees. So is this it? Is this the one? Oh, we can actually walk in here. Ooh, wow. Now, why? Tell me, where is the game logic in us not having a flashlight that turns on right now? Why was there a flashlight in that one set of tunnels, but not here? That one set of tunnels that wasn't even dark for that long. This one, to me, is darker. It's actually harder to see in this set of tunnels. Now, I might not be at the right position. I actually think I need to be over here. Because this is the one that has the angle. Yeah, I think it's here somewhere. And maybe it's back in the dark tunnel. There it is. We found it. I don't know why there's no flashlight. That honestly confuses the heck out of me. Why you would not have a flashlight that turns on when it gets dark near an actual something to find. But you have a flashlight that's there when you're just going through tunnels that have stairs that you can just kind of still see. Okay, let's go get... I swear, some of the things in this game. All right, we're finally here. Let's pick up our Sphinx Star.
A hammer forges and a hammer breaks, but who can know the heart of the blacksmith?
And it just so happens that the Prometheus sprite is also nearby. So let's sure we can climb right up here and start our final chase. Our final funky music, funky Prometheus chase. I'm gonna be so sad, so lonely when we have no more Prometheus sprites to chase. Honestly, this has been a totally fine part of the game. I really have not minded the chase sequences whatsoever. They gave you that whirlwind scenic tour of the island. We got some conversations with Melville. We'll see if we can catch up with her when we're not in the middle of a very important sprite chase. Ooh, this one's going in the puzzle. Ooh, okay, it's going way up there. Which puzzle was this? Oh, is this where we need the platform for? Is this why there's a platform here? I don't know if we're gonna be able to keep the chase music going. Don't know if we're gonna make it. How in the world? Okay, I need to figure out... Well, okay, I can just grab the box and get up here, can't I? That was it. Okay, that one was actually pretty simple. I thought that's where we were gonna bring the platform into play, so I still don't know what we were supposed to do with the platform. Spinning in circles here a bit. The statue is somewhere over that way. Can you just head straight there? We don't need to be spinning in circles. Cut to the chase, haha. Just cut to the chase. Instead, you gotta make me dizzy. Make me dizzy. Making me trying to make me forget about the mediocrity of the puzzles in this area. God damn it. This actually turned out to be a pretty long one. I don't know what the longest chase sequence is in the game. This one feels like it's up there, even though, I don't know. This area doesn't feel as spread out as some of the others. It's obviously a lot flatter than the last area that we had. So, I don't know. Either way, Prometheus sprites done. And stars, 100%. Let's go. Give me my last star. Give me that last one. Here we go.
God appears and God is light to those poor souls who dwell in night. But does a human form display to those who dwell in realms of day?
Bro, I have no fucking clue. All I know is I have all the stars, I have all the regular puzzles, and I have just one more question mark, I think. I spin around here to confirm that real quickly, but I have, in fact, one more question mark left in this area, which I suspect should be a lost lab. I don't think we were quite at 100% in lost labs when I loaded the game, and sure enough, that looks like what we've got here. What are they going to have in store for us in the final lost lab? Scientia Vincere Tenebris. Explore all the labs. I probably butchered that pronunciation. I think that's Latin. No idea what it means, but we have found our final lost lab, and we get a pretty cool hologram depicting the megastructure. There you go. That's pretty cool. The megastructure itself is much cooler looking, seeing it in person. But perhaps we've reached the final lost lab, and so we're seeing the final stage of the Noema trials that they've put in place here. It looks like that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get the final trials. What numbers did we make it up to here? My goodness, we went all the way from 40K to almost 90K. Remaining instabilities eliminated, and then just a few to get over that 90,000 mark. And then trial 90. Oh, it says final confirmation. I thought it was all gobbledygook. Trial 90,058, version 1.0 successfully deployed. It is done. What now? What now indeed? What is all this going to lead to? We have a message from Cornelius to Athena. Athena, I don't know if you're there or why you're not answering. It's been a long time, but I think about you and Miranda every day. In fact, I've been using the museum to further my research, and I think there is hope. You know, I wouldn't say this lightly. Please respond. I will return as soon as I can. I'll steal a VTOL if I have to. I think what he's talking about here is there is hope we can get Miranda back, which he wouldn't say lightly. He wouldn't want to get Athena's hopes up. But apparently they were not in contact. So is it possible Athena has gone missing as well? And maybe she's ended up in the same place Miranda did, right? Whatever happened to Miranda, Athena might have had a similar experience wherever they got, whatever alternate dimension they got sucked into. What else do we have in the lab? Some more mainframes and another palm reader over here. We'll check this out. Got to get our lab readings finished. We've stuck it out this far. There have been interesting readings. My only gripe is that there have just been too many readings. There were, I don't know what the total count is going to be here, but I feel like there were so much, what's the right terminology here? So much less of them in the first game. And in the first game, it felt like they were paced out correctly. In this game, there's just been a bit too much. Some good ideas, but too much of them. A little too dense sometimes. Okay, let's check out Machines of Mercy by Inessa, that's French. How do you say that? Pichot? From Motherhood, 12 essays. Sometimes I imagine myself following the matrilineal lineup against the River of Time to the lives of my distant great-grandmothers. I try to imagine the sheer horror of motherhood, the agony of childbirth, the risk of death with every birth, the certainty of losing some of one's children. To us now, the loss of a child is a horror almost beyond words, a grief so deep it seems almost insurmountable. I try to imagine what it meant to live in a world where it was a ubiquitous reality, where you could only choose to respond with either an ever-deepening pain or an inhuman numbness, and all of it tied to the foundation stone of your existence, the body. This journey to the past reminds me that my freedom as a woman is on some level technological. Without medical technologies, I'm reduced to the cruel logic of nature, which cares about nothing except reproduction. Without machines, I become a machine. Only machines allow us to be more than machines ourselves. There is a lot to process in this piece, and only so much of it that I, as a man, am capable of doing, but I can see why this would be, you know, one of the pieces here that Athena would probably have been visiting quite often, having experienced what she did with Miranda. From Spugna? What a name. Dear Founder, I heard a story that you left because you had discovered a way for us to become beings of flesh. Oh, really? Please, Founder, if this is true, please tell me how to achieve this miracle. Is it really a miracle? Is this something that robots have been wanting to have? Apparently this one has. I hate being a creature of metal and plastic, an abomination to the earth. Every day I curse myself for being immortal, for mindlessly consuming energy, for being so unlike the graceful animals to whom the planet truly belongs. That is so, man, it's all about how you frame things. And like, you could frame this in a completely positive way, that there are so many positives to being a robot compared to being a human or a being of flesh, as Spugna writes. But Spugna has looked at it the complete opposite way, that robots are the abomination and humans, or biological humans, are the pinnacle of existence. I have stripped as many parts from this vile skeleton as I can, but it is not enough. I am still a machine. For the longest time, I couldn't understand the source of my unhappiness, and I sought to blame our mayor and his associates for the decisions that made my life so miserable. But now I see that my problems aren't external at all. It's all me. And if I could change myself, if I could make myself truly human, I would be happy. Please, Founder, take pity on me. Yours in faith, Spugna. And another entry here from Hypatia. This one is actually not a journal from Hypatia. This is just directly to Athena. I've been following the expedition to this incredible machine you've built. I don't know what's going on, and I wish Cornelius had told us the truth before he vanished. I wish both of you had told us everything from the beginning, to be honest. It was unfair to just abandon us. But then, I abandoned you too, didn't I? After we lost Sarabai, I couldn't see anything except the unbearable permanence of her absence. It took me centuries to start getting involved again. But I did, Athena. I came back, and so can you. I think that is the extent of the Lost Lab. I think we have wrapped up all of the readings, all of the discoveries to be had. The only thing that remains is uncovering, or perhaps getting some explanation as to Athena's true purpose. Like, we have some stuff that is kind of explained parts of it. It looks like maybe the true purpose of everything was that she wanted to go into space. Is that what it all boils down to? We should take one look at the Golden Gates. Let's head over there and just take a look and see what our progress is. Because I do think the game has told us that we should not be able to access these until we free Byron. So I think that means we have to go back into the megastructure one last time before we actually get to do the Golden Gate puzzles. Is that true? Let's make sure of that. Okay. Oh, right. So the last step, I think, is to activate the laser beam in the tower. I think once we get the laser beam activated, then this last light would come online. We may still not open the gate because we got to get Byron out of there, but we'll see if that is the case. So let's head to the Tetromino Bridge, which I believe is in this direction. Oh, here it is, right over here. I was about to pass it by. And we just happened to run into Melville. What fortunate timing. Hi, Melville. Let's get the rest of your dialogue. You wanted to... Oh, okay. Do you think what I did with the Somnodrome was the right thing?
Not really, no.
Okay. Thanks for the honesty.
I don't really care very much.
Not invested, are you?
What really matters is what we do about the theory of everything.
You've got a different focus. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. We're getting everybody's input here on whether we have done the right thing or not on the Somnodrome. I'm still uncertain myself, but what I am certain about is we have one more Tetromino Bridge to solve. Another part of the game that I feel like had so much potential, so much unrealized potential, especially when you live in when we started thinking about things in terms of the, you know, the verticality of these bridges and the fact that some of them could have been anti-gravity. Like, those would have been so interesting to explore, I think. But as I've said before, it is what it is. We work with what we have. We solve the puzzles in front of us. We are 1K. And we move forward. In any case, even if the puzzles kind of solve themselves, because that's what it always feels like with these bridges. Okay, let's head up to the tower. One more tower to climb. Who will we find this time? Prometheus? Would be my guess. Or what if they all three showed up? Get the whole family together. What about it? Oh my god, that's gotta be the longest elevator. For sure. It is Prometheus. Hello, sir.
You have heard the myths of gods and titans. But as you approach the end of your journey, I will tell you the truth that all men fear.
Ooh.
The truth that neither Pandora nor the Sphinx will face.
Okay, lay it on me.
There are no gods, son of man. There are no titans, no heroes to save you, no divine judge to weigh your soul against a feather. Nature has no will, and she is not your mother. There is only you, and the spark of the sublime that is your mind. As for myself, I never brought the flame to humankind as the stories tell. I only showed you where it was within yourselves.
What is the flame? What is the flame? I guess ultimately the flame is the theory of everything, right? I think that's what they've been getting at, because understanding or having that unifying theory, at least in the context of the game, means you get to do all the things that that Prometheus would have done with the flame. I have to know though, what is the sublime? Y'all have been talking about, you keep putting the sublime songs in my head. What is the sublime actually?
It is that voice within you which says, I am that I am. I will be what I will be.
That totally cleared everything up. Thank you for that. I do think that it's probably true that all myths have an element of truth, which is kind of why they propagate through the centuries or the millennia, or at least partly why. Let's see what he says to that.
You are correct, but that truth comes from you. It is part of the flame and yours to wield. You must make myths, not follow them.
We must wield the flame to create a myth for the cosmos itself. That is such a big statement. It's probably what Athena has in mind, but I'm not sure I'm quite there yet. Maybe we'll stick with humble myths for now. How about that?
Perhaps, but do not think you can quench the flame within you. You may suppress it for 1,000 generations, but it will always return.
Maybe that's the... Yeah, that's the premise they're trying to get at here, right? Is that these, the overall purpose of the universe, right? The fact that the universe is one big machine, just like you have in the human body, you have these, the biome that live inside your guts. They're not actually part of you per se. They are these other organisms. They're their own living organisms, but they have a very specific role that they play in your overall health. And in a similar way, I think the game is trying to get us to think that whether it be flesh and blood humanity or the robotic humanity that has resulted from the simulation, that their overall purpose was to realize this theory of everything. And that's where it starts to get kind of hazy for me. I don't think I fully understand this from beginning to end, but we're not going to agree. Will you lead me to Byron anyway? Because we need to get him out.
As you freed me, so I will help you free your friend. When you are within Olympus, follow my signs.
All right, will do. I had a big thought there. I thought I had a big realization that I was going for. And like a lot of moments in these games, a lot of concepts in this game, it's just so big and it's so hard to put into words sometimes.
All right, it's time to do this. Let's go get Byron.
Time to head back to the megastructure. We are going to do one thing here before we wrap up the wrap up today's events, we are going to head back to the Golden Gates. I just want to take one more look and make sure everything we've learned tells me that we are not going to have those gates open, but I just want to confirm. Just want to take a look one more time here and... interesting. So even though we've lit up all 3 lasers to open the last door into the megastructure, this light does not activate just yet. So, okay, well, there's nothing else to do but head into the megastructure one more time and hopefully free Byron. And that is where we will wrap up this installment of the Talos Principle 2. We've completed all the normal puzzles. We have completed all of the stars, all the lost labs, all the lost puzzles. All of the things outside of the Golden Gates have been done. And I'm not going to harp on too much longer. I'm headed in the wrong direction here. I need to get back to the tram. I'm not going to harp on any longer about my disappointments with this area. I think I've gone on long enough about that. What we will do is we will look forward to the Golden Gate puzzles. That's really what I'm excited about. I'm going to hold on to the hope that they have saved the coolest puzzles for last, and that once we have ventured into the megastructure and freed Byron and maybe completed our story, that we will get that one last set of puzzles that will really, maybe the theory of all the puzzles, the theory of every puzzle completed is going to come into fruition via the Golden Gate puzzles, something like that. I can only hope. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.